Good. Here's what we've all been waiting for, a report on Model Schools Conference. Me? I have. Very,
Yes, it did. It did very well.
Put it up on this wall.
It had it up on that
But it
wall.
was
It
on,
went very
it's
well.
gone, so.
Okay, that's okay, hang on, it does
How-
sleep.
It was,
Can you honestly
oh yeah.
wake it up?
You know, it was right up there with every business one that I've gone to. I mean, it was the quality of the information, the way they linked, big picture context of the, every one of the 100 different sessions. The executive overviews really were hit on in each of the sessions that everybody attended. I just thought it was, you know, and the change management.
Yep, it is.
It just takes the conversation.
Okay.
Because I see the light exact same.
Right.
This one is always tricky.
Slower. It was really amazing. Well worth the vacation time.
It's coming.
Here it comes, Marcia.
My boss
Okay.
here, so I want to go
Dump the light out though.
Hey, it's my light up.
Yeah.
All right.
Seeing it would be good.
He's like, no, you're supposed to be resting. I'm like, I find this interesting. I like this. That's when your husband rejects. That's when you're But the boss rejects.
Wow.
No, it's easy to say thank you.
That's perfect, thank you.
All right, and I hope that Dana, who was with us at the conference, will join in and add.
I'm happy to add color
There you
commentary.
go.
Come on.
Please clean the filter, all right.
It always says that, don't worry about the filter, it always says.
The Model Schools Conference was early this year. It was before we got out of school, but we were able to take a team, and we used grant funding and contractual professional development money that was already budgeted, so in planning for this, because the Model Schools is part of our strategic plan, and we want to be able to continue to send people to the conference. I think this is an extremely worthwhile time that we spent there, and what we learned and what we brought back is very exciting as well. But what are Model Schools? The Model Schools Conference is put on each year by the International Center for Leadership and Education. And what the conference is about is determining the practices of effective schools that they then term as model schools. And those are the nation's most successful and rapidly improving schools. And they've done research to determine what are the common factors of schools that can improve rapidly or are very high performing. And they think that there are some different factors for those that are already high performing and are going from good to great, and those that are start out very low performing and are making extraordinary progress toward having all students reach high standards. Go back here. Well, I'm going to tell you that this year there were 9 attendees, and that consisted of 6 teachers, 2 administrators, and a school committee member. Cumulatively, this is the 3rd year that we've been going to the conference. All told, there are a couple of repeaters, but there are 14 different teachers that have attended, 5 administrators, and 2 school committee members. Dr. Bill Daggett is the Chief Executive Officer of the International Center, and I think this is a quote of his, and I think it sort of captures a lot about the conference, and that's, given the challenges facing education today, it's critical to scale up the practices that give our students the skills and knowledge they need to be successful in a globally driven world. And this is above and beyond what most schools are doing at this point. On the first day of the conference, we all attended full-day seminars, and there was a variety of them offered. The ones that part of our, one or more members of our team attended were using rigor and relevance framework for effective instruction. And we took with us those teachers that had not had the full training on the rigor and relevance framework, which we have adopted as a district, and we thought it was important that all of our teachers have an in-depth understanding of that framework. So those teachers attended that workshop. Differentiated instruction, boosting achievement through literacy strategies, and the essential skills of the adaptive and situational leader. And those, as I said, were on all-day seminars. And then on days 2 through 4, there were over 100 concurrent sessions going on. So there was just, I mean, it was frustrating sometimes that there were so many that we wanted to attend and we couldn't get to them all. But it was a very full day. We went from 8 in the morning until 5, and then we would all get together for a debriefing session after that, and usually have dinner together and keep talking. But in those concurrent sessions, there were strands. So if you wanted to focus your attendance in these workshops in a particular area and really develop a depth of understanding, you could focus on a strand, or you could pick and choose to attend those things in which you were most interested. But the strands were leadership, effective teaching practices, interventions, and improving the performance of students with disabilities. Best practices for improving student achievement and increasing teacher effectiveness and instructional and leadership practices were sort of themes throughout. Some of the examples of workshops, and these were those that were attended by one or more of us. There was an overarching theme, again, of preparing students for the 21st century global economy, to be participants in that. Strategies for using data and making data-driven decisions. Brain research. The International Center of Leadership and Education resource sessions. They have a lot of resources, and we have a resource library here that we've used this last year extensively for our professional development, but they had sessions on how to use their training materials, so that was an option. Using assessments and interventions, stretch learning for struggling learners, and we have, we think often of remedial instruction for struggling learners. This was talking about stretching them into new areas and challenging them in other ways besides, trying to reach. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Pardon? Well, I'll just go back. I'm trying to do better on the test to become to the level where they are proficient. Okay, that's pretty much. Also, there was a lot of implementing technology-infused programs, which we are going to be doing more of, and building a culture to support change. One thing that I think if we said, what was the oh wow learning for all of us was the information we were receiving about the new Common Core standards and assessments and what that is going to mean for schools. These are the national standards that the Association of Governors originally had talked about and agreed that was needed. The math, English language arts, and the math standards have been completed. I think right now 26 states have already signed on, Rhode Island being one of them, but they expect that by the end of this year there'll be 41 states that will have signed on to adopt the Common Core standards. And the science core standards are being worked on presently, and there's expected completion by early 2011. But these standards and the related assessments are going to mean major changes in education. And I've been in education a long time, and I look back over 30 years and think about the way things were when I began and the way things are now. In a lot of ways, there's not a whole lot of difference.